What do you call a modem in a safe? A secure connection. Geeky jokes.
Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to our 9th video cast. I'm Wolfi. As always, with me is Elad. We are both certified LeSS trainers, and today we have a special guest, Tobias Meyer, who is a certified safe trainer. So, Tobias, will you introduce yourself quickly?
Okay, I love to. My name is Tobias, obviously, Tobias Meyer, and I'm a consultant now for 10 years. And since almost 4 years, I'm mainly doing scaled agile framework consulting, primarily in the branches automotive and medical care. In my early life, in my former life, I have been a natural scientist and a software developer. And in my future life, I will be an organization researcher.
And possibly a dentist or something. It's so versatile.
Thank you. Yeah, so you can guess that today's topic is safe and LeSS. And we hope that you, the audience, will get some understanding of the differences between safe and LeSS. Now, as this is a special session, we have a special format for this episode. So we will ask questions to each other, allow 2.5 minutes for responding to it, and then we have the insights as usual in the end. So let's maybe start right away. Elad.
Yes.
What's your question to
I have a question. Okay, so Tobias, I would really like to understand the reasons for safe choosing to have multiple product backlogs and multiple product owners within the organization. I'd like to have your insight on that.
Okay, get it. Yes, SAFE has the conviction that each team should have an own product owner because we have the Agile Manifesto with the contact to the business and customer side of you on a daily basis, and each team should be able to have access to a dedicated person, and this is the product owner. So, and as we have multiple teams, we have multiple product owners, and the responsibility of a product owner is to keep up to date with the business side and the customer view, and to actively bring it to the teams and to share this knowledge. And furthermore, when a team has an own product owner, so we very much support this principle of decentralized decision making, because the product owner has content authority about what the team is doing. And yes, this brings us to the backlogs. Why multiple backlogs? Actually, we have one program backlog for the features, and all the team backlogs are derived from that program backlog. So there is a single one and only reference point, more or less. Yeah, that's
cool. You see, Wolfi, we have a guest that actually maintains the time box.
Yep, amazing, good.
How about then you ask Tobias a question right now?
Yes, okay. So this is, yeah, I'm very curious actually. I'm impressed by LeSS, and I'm curious about the types of organization that apply LeSS, that prefer LeSS over any other framework. So, and when I say types, I mean it in terms of size of branches, of surrounding culture from the country, things like that.
Okay, I'll take this one, Wolfi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So from my experience, and I don't have data, so I don't have any statistical data to claim that this is and that is the commonalities or not. So I'm speaking from my own experience mostly. So the properties of the organizations that use less, they vary greatly. That's from my experience. I've been working with organizations as small as 40 people. I think that's the smallest organization that I have been working with to adopt less. Just as a side note, they were planning to scale up significantly, so they also used it as a preparation to scale up. But I've also worked with organizations of thousands of people, and anywhere in the middle is also valid for my experience. Same with the branch or domain. I've worked with organizations in the automotive and telecom industry, and I've worked with organizations that are like techie cool startups that work with AI and mobile apps and stuff like that. So really, it varies greatly. So in that respect, I don't think I have a clear commonality to share. What I do find that is common is the leadership type, or the people who sit in leadership positions. Usually they are, let's say, more courageous and more willing to make changes that they are aligned with the way that they think, like doing structural changes, role changes, organizational design changes. Even there is always a concern in the background that the employees wouldn't like it, or they would be afraid of it or would resist to it. So I think it's about understanding that this is where we want to go and having the courage to actually go there without being concerned with what the others would say. And maybe also a small side note, I've seen that maybe similar to Scrum, once you go less, you don't go back. Once you've been there, and I have already 2 customers that are basically a result of a manager that moved from one organization to another, and they say, I want to have less here as well. So I think people like it once they comprehend it and follow up on that. Yes.
So
Wolfi, you ask.
yes, so if you could change one thing in SAFe, what would it be?
That's a tough one. Okay. Actually, there is one thing I'm always struggling with. It's about the wordings. Some of the wordings in the Scaled Agile framework, and yeah, especially iteration. So we talk about iterations, you know, the 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever a company decides for, and this is practically a sprint. So why not call it a sprint? And I guess they want to delimit themselves from Scrum, where sprint, the term stems from, and maybe they are not allowed to use the term sprint. I don't know, but it's a nasty thing, and sprint is much easier to use than iteration. And the next thing is also the agile team. The agile team comes with SAFe 5.0, the latest update of the SAFe framework, and the agile team actually is used for the team members, the Scrum Master and the product owner. And when we talk about the team members, they have also the role name, which is also agile team. They are part of the agile team, and this is confusing. So maybe they will clarify this with future updates. Anyway, so and why they chose to be more general as agile team is because SAFe is also applied more and more in other domains when it's not about development, but about what else, operations, for example, or business teams, and then they want to have a proper term for it.
Okay, Tobias, would you like to ask Wolfi a question?
Of course. Wolfi, so why do you think SAFe has become so popular in recent years?
That's an interesting question. Well, I have some opinions and observations. And what I see like this is, first of all, I think Dean and his team have done a fantastic marketing sales job. Congratulations for that. Secondly, I think it has to do with the framework itself. So let's say there is this top senior manager who is the decision maker, who makes the final decision on which framework to use. And typically this person is advised and surrounded by the management team, his or her management team. And now they have a much easier position to find themselves in the SAFE framework compared to LeSS framework, because in LeSS management is optional. And in this way, it doesn't give them much ground to be anywhere. So there might be a slight risk or fear of demotion in one way or the other. And then the framework which institutionalized the roles basically might provide a higher job security or safety. So that might be the case. So this change, what LeSS is introducing, might appear to be too overwhelming for maybe management. Yeah. And then the other reason, the third reason I see is that LeSS is more strict in changing the organizational design and structure. So I observed a lot this kind of mentality: wash me, but don't make me wet. And that's somewhat inconsistent with LeSS, because if you start doing LeSS, you will get wet in this way. So, and the last point I have, if that's a bit fuzzy, but still I mention it. So in LeSS, we have an optimization goal. So we see the organization as a system, and each system has an optimization goal, whether you want it or not, it's there. And now the question is that what to do with it. And unless we are very strict, so we have the optimization goal of adaptiveness, agility, and the entire LeSS framework is very consequently optimized for this. So that's where all the rules and the stuff are coming from. And I see this, that managers don't understand, or they don't know about this. And that is basically leading to this, that they make the decisions they are making by not understanding all the consequences of their decisions. And that was my point to this one.
Thank you very much.
It's just unbelievable. Okay, what can I say? Wow, that was cool. And it was fast and it was on time.
All right, so now it's time for insights. So Tobias,
okay,
what are your insights?
Yeah, let me start. Thanks for that. My actually two insights. The second I have already forgotten, but the first one is, so my understanding about both frameworks is deep enough, I guess, that none of these frameworks is better than the other, you know. So they are, in the end, at the bottom line, we're talking about agile principles, and both frameworks provide the opportunities to live these principles. And the second insight was you can apply LeSS in every organization as well as SAFE. So Elad, you talked about what type of organizations, and it's kind of matter of taste, but it more highly depends on the leader that is on top of it. And that's it.
Elad, what are your insights?
That's a great question. I'm so happy that you asked. So first of all, my first insight is there are some really nice and smart people in the SAFE community. That's my first insight. I'm silly, but I'm always silly. Yes, and my second insight is that really hearing that from you, Tobias, about like my question about the product owners and the product backlog, I think there's maybe an underlying assumption from at least from what I heard in your answer, that teams are not capable of communicating directly with the customers. So there needs to be a proxy of a product owner. And I think I'm not saying this assumption is invalid or valid. I'm just LeSS as a framework sees it a bit differently. But I think maybe that now made it much clearer for me for the reason for doing that. So thank you. Wolfi, do you have any insights?
Yeah, so somewhat in the same direction. So typically I get asked in my trainings that, okay, what's the difference between less and safe? And I think now it became a little bit more clear that what are your, yeah, in this way, what is important here again. And also I agree with Elad. So this was really interesting to see that you don't go for this cut out the middleman in this way, which we typically do in the LeSS framework. So that has been quite interesting. And also that if you want to change one thing, what came to your mind now was the word iteration. So also interesting that you see the wording as such a big issue, as I learned that the wording in this way might be, yeah, it's important. On the other hand, also it starts to have a life of its own anyway. So
maybe let me add one more on that. SAFE allows for a team to apply any agile method or lean method. So not necessarily Scrum. And this is probably the strongest reason to avoid the word sprint, because it is associated with Scrum specifically.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
And now, given the recent Scrum Guide changes, the word dev team is also. So first, Tobias, thank you very, very, very much for joining us. Really, it's a great pleasure and honor to have you. You have definitely been the best guest we ever had on the show.
The pleasure is all mine.
And thank you all, audience, for watching. Look, I'm looking at the camera now. And we, as always, Wolfi and I invite you to send any comments, any requests, any suggestions. Feel free to share it with your friends and loved ones for the holidays. And we wish you all a much better and a healthy new year. So happy New Year to you all. Thank you, Tobias. Thank you, Wolfi. And we'll see you next time.
Yep. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Cool.
Elad.
Yes, you need to facilitate this, Wolfi.
Yes.
So ask me, what are your insights, Elad?
Elad, what are your insights?
That's a great question. I'm so happy that you asked.